We begin tonight with the president's arrival in Beijing, the Chinese capital, to join other African heads of state participating in the 7th summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, holding from September the 3rd to the 4th. President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to address the conference in recognition of the leading position of Nigeria in global affairs, especially its ties with China. Since inception, the forum has become a key platform for dialogue and cooperation between China and African countries, which has greatly enhanced trade with the continent. During the visit, Nigeria and China will sign an agreement on the Phase 2 of the National Information and Communication Technology Infrastructure Backbone, put at the cost of $328 million, a facility provided by the Chinese Exim Bank. A statement by the President's Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, explains that the ICT project is part of the administration's plan to incorporate the development of ICT international strategic planning under the National Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, ERGP. Well, that's not all. Part of the statement reads, quote, "During the high-level dialogue between Chinese and African leaders and business representatives on the margins of the forum, the Nigerian delegation is also expected to sign no fewer than 25 MOUs," end of quote. The president will meet Nigerians living in China on Sunday before the kickoff of the conference on Monday. The summit will also adopt the Beijing Declaration and the Action Plan for the development of China-Africa cooperation. Well, back here in Nigeria, residents and commuters plying the Jalingo-Wukari Federal Highway connecting Benue and other parts of the country have called on the federal government to urgently commence repair works on the broken bridges on the road. They condemn the difficulty that has been their lot following the collapse of the bridges. This next report tells us more.
These children may not be aware of the nursery rhyme, "London Bridge is falling down," but they are witnessing a bridge in their community in Taraba State threatening to give way after a heavy downpour. Earlier in the year, on June the 20th specifically, these pipe culverts on the Jalingo-Wukari Road collapsed following heavy rainfall. Vehicular movement came to a standstill for several hours as the bridge was impassable. The alternative is this makeshift by the state government.
I left Jalingo since 8 o'clock in the morning, and we spent more than 3 hours here, almost 4 hours now, and I don't think there is any chance of us going anymore.
If you see the crowd, there are some that are transport that they are not ongoing, and economically we are going down because there are some tankers, as you see, that they are going to keep move from here to Yola, at least to drop their fuel to the various filling stations.
There are 4 bridges on the road and most are in a similar situation. Those still standing may only be waiting for another heavy downpour before they give way. The road is a major access link from Taraba State to the south-south and southeastern parts of the country. It also connects other parts of the northeast, as well as Benue State in the north-central. The implication is that heavy trucks have to maneuver their way through the makeshift road as economic activities in the area are under threat.
Look at, even to transport fuel from the southern part of the state and the country to our state capital, Jalingo, and other parts of the northeast, is very, very difficult.
The road is actually very terrible in the sense that not only this particular bridge, but on this route, Wukari to Jalingo alone, there are about 4 bridges that are on the verge of collapsing.
When the bridges gave way back in June, the federal government mobilized contractors to site to carry out remediation work. Daniel Akalian is the managing director of the Taraba State Roads Construction and Maintenance Agency. He says the state government is concerned about the situation and that they are working with the federal government to commence work on the affected areas.
The Federal Minister of Works promised that they are going to mobilize a contractor to commence construction of the culvert that was washed out, which I think they did, because the last time I passed there, I saw some contractors working on that. After the second culvert happened, then the latest one that's happening presently now. For now, we are still waiting for them to either call us or call another contractor to do work on that those two washout bridges. Though there's a contractor, as I said earlier on, working on the other one that happened at Maraba, but the latest ones, we are not seeing any work going on there.
Meanwhile, the contractor handling the construction of culverts on the road has mobilized the site. It is therefore expected that the hardship faced by motorists here will be a thing of the past, and very soon.
The disasters caused by the increasing rainfall have also visited communities in Mariga local government area of Niger State, where several people are said to have been killed. The state governor, Abubakar Bello, has appealed to the federal government to assist in addressing the challenge caused by the disasters.
This is what's left of Gulbin Boka area in Niger State. A once quiet community, now thrown into confusion. With the collapsed bridge, the people are disconnected from the outside world, but they remain determined to cross over. Canoes are the only means of transportation left, and even that is not enough to cater for the waiting crowd. It's an experience that disturbs the locals as they recall their losses.
For this water, we lose many souls. Some people doesn't sleep to their house because of the water. Even me here recently, as I'm talking now, my parents pack to their house and go to our neighbors' houses in case of to sleep because of the water.
Like Gulbin Boka, several other communities in Mariga local government area experience the same ordeal. The situation attracts the attention of the state government, and a team led by the governor arrive at the scene. Governor Abubakar Bello assures the community of immediate remedy.
We must do something to reduce the suffering of the people. And I have spoken to the engineers now. They will find an immediate solution, emergency solution, so that there will be access road. That is the best we can do because there's too much water. After rainy season, when it's a federal road, I believe the federal government will pay attention after rainy season.
With the rains now in high intensity and plans to release water from more dams on the way, there are fears that the problem of flooding in Niger State might just have begun.
Well, there have also been concerns raised over the abuse of bridges in Lagos and its deteriorating state, especially the Ido Bridge. It may have waned in the face of the reopening of the third mainland bridge. However, some structural engineers are still of the opinion that more needs to be done to maintaining most of the country's public infrastructure. Well, in this next report, our correspondent Olu Phillips tells us more.
Lest we forget, the third mainland bridge reopening is only temporal. The closure in the first place happened because the bridge is once again showing sign of weakness in certain parts of this Africa's second longest bridge. So what is the key takeaway? Since the commissioning, this is about the third time major repairs will be conducted. Therefore, it calls to concern the state of other bridges scattered across the metropolis. What do we have here? Like a pair of large eyeglasses, Ido Bridge, built in the 50s, has this to show for its aging, unattended body structure. Like some of its counterparts, the long neglect meant just anything can happen around here. Vegetation's growing, exposed railings, and wait for this, a public urinary grafted to the ribs. It's no man's property perhaps, reason you can also find lock-up shops and warehouses fused right under the bridge. So how much should we be worried of these defects?
That bridge, the part that is broken is even pedestrian bridge. The beams it has transverse and longitudinal beams, which are still in order. So the bridge is stable, and then there's no cause for alarm. Apart from abuses, what is broken is just for aesthetics, and it's just reinforced wall, because the beam is hollow, and it's the walls covering the hollow that is broken, so there's no cause for alarm.
Really?
It doesn't take too much to see that our infrastructure is decaying rapidly. Maybe you have to accept. We have to all accept that it's always a matter of time anyway. So one of the things we really do need to do is not to always believe that just because something is standing, or just because it's still manageable, that it therefore means don't pay any attention to it until you need to.
Engineering solutions are about data collection and analysis. These days, it's almost a norm to find trucks comfortably lying on the deck of bridges, with no consequences to the owners and drivers.
When you turn a driveway into a parking, it deteriorates, because at that point, they will change oil, they will change diesel, they will eat there, they will do, because it's now a living place, it's not a home. They will drink water, they will throw it, they will litter. Eventually, there will be growth in the crevices.
The traffic adjustments and inconveniences faced during the 3 days temporary closure of the 3rd Mainland Bridge clearly speaks to the need to start considering an attention to remediate and make fit alternative routes and bridges, because before the year runs out, there will be calls to service when actual work on the 3rd Mainland Bridge gets on the way. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.